Gauteng MEC for Infrastructure Development Jacob Mamabolo warned that the fire is posing an environmental problem to nearby buildings. He also gave an update on the progress of those in hospital, who include 4 firefighters and 1 Department of Health employee.
Also aware that the fire is causing an environmental problem to the neighboring buildings, including our workers who are around the buildings. We have received reports that there's general discomfort with the effect of the fire, particularly the smoke, that is affecting neighboring buildings. And we have issued a directive that where buildings are affected by the smoke coming from the building of Bank of Lisbon, heads of departments should evacuate the officials as a matter of precaution and safety. So that matter, we have issued a directive as well. And we will monitor the fire today, and we will certainly be able to communicate with the departments that are affected by the smoke. Let me also just update you on the condition of the workers that are still in hospital. Last night, some of you would have still been on site when Premier David Makura and Minister Judas Nesi came, and we did announce that the Premier and Minister, myself, MEC Muilwa, we did go to Melpark Hospital. And at Melpark Hospital, we found that initially our report was that there were workers that were admitted at another health facility, but they were all subsequently released, and that is called the Garden City Hospital. The workers there were released. When we left last night, all workers were released except 5. And the 5, it was the 1 employee of the Department of Health and 4 firefighters. The doctors gave us the confirmation that the firefighters and the employee of the Department of Health were in none of the workers was in a critical condition.
The nurses' union, DENOSA, has disputed Gauteng Infrastructure Development MEC Jacob Mamabolo's statements that plans were in progress to move health employees from the Bank of Lisbon building in Johannesburg. The union says that they had been asking the department to move workers since 2012. Mamabolo earlier briefed the media that they were in the final process of relocating employees.
As firefighters continued battling the blaze for the second day, Gauteng Infrastructure Development MEC Jacob Mamabolo assured the media that relocation processes were in place for all 3 departments housed in the Bank of Lisbon building.
On the 22nd of July, we have already gone to find alternative accommodation for them, and that is why this week by tomorrow we will notify the department about the service provider that has been appointed for their facility. So clearly with these 2 departments, they had approached us and they had said to us that there is a challenge with the buildings, and they requested us to find alternative accommodation for them, and the process had started. Department of Health, whose floors were never found to have been condemned by the Department of Labor, we have actually indicated to them that it is very much important that they also indicate budget availability and whether there's a request for a building, but the building has already burned down. We will now have to relocate the Department of Health.
But DENOSA Provincial Chair Simphiwe Gada has disputed this, saying that they had been fighting with government to find other accommodation for employees.
If we were to check the minutes, the item is no longer conditions of the building. It's about relocation of staff from the building. They themselves had agreed that the staff must be relocated. At the end of the day, they then turned around and said that they are not going to relocate the staff. And I'm saying this, they told us this thing on the 27th of July. And even before then, I'm just saying that recently they've been repeating the same thing on the 27th of July. They repeated it on the 2nd of August. They repeated it last week Friday on the 31st of August that they are not moving the staff. We are prepared to show the minutes to the public.
The union says that officials and politicians must be held accountable for the loss of life. Meanwhile, Mamabolo says that they will be looking for alternative office space for officials.